Welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for episode 2 of the Software Testing Happy Hour. I'm your host, Brent Jenkins, and joining me again today, to my left, Director of Support Services, Sneha Cruz, and Automation Engineer, Matt Kubal. Guys, welcome back.
Yay.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.
So in this episode, we're going to talk about 3 different topics. First, a white paper titled Top 4 Frustrations of Software Engineers. Secondly, we're going to talk about our favorite presentations from the Automation Guild Online Testing Conference. And third, we're going to do a product spotlight on Ranorex. Sound good, everybody?
Sounds good.
But before we do any of that, I've got to thank our sponsor, Checkpoint Technologies, for making this all possible. Checkpoint Technologies is actually celebrating their 15th year assisting organizations to deliver higher quality applications to market faster through professional services like staff augmentation, mentoring, assessments, training, and more, and best-of-breed software solution partners like Micro Focus and Atlassian. With that, let's get started. So, kicking it off, we're going to turn to our resident beer snob, Matt Kubal, to introduce the beers that we will be sampling today. Matt?
All right, all the beers today are from Coppertail. This first one here is Night Swim.
Which is a local brewery.
Yeah, it's a local brewery. It is, where is it in Tampa?
Ybor.
Ybor City, across from the IKEA. It's a good trip. You go to IKEA and then you go to the brewery. I've done it. Next beer is Unholy. It's a triple. And this next one is Wheat Stroke. Sorry, I shouldn't be turning these around, should I?
No. So I put a little cheat sheet for you right there so you didn't have to do
Your
that.
handwriting sucks.
Matt
And the last
drinks too
one
much
is
during-
Free Dive. It's an IPA.
So we're going to kick it off with the Night Swim?
Absolutely. It's best to worst.
All right, well, let's go ahead and pour these out. Here, you want to? Here, I'll do it for you.
It's good host.
Don't spill it.
Well,
So,
you know.
and we're going to set the timer for 5 minutes per
Yeah, so we're
thing,
going to
right?
do 5 minutes per beer.
And I started the clock.
But you already started the 5 minutes? We haven't even kicked it off
Oh, wait, I'll pause the clock.
yet. Yeah, pause the clock, please.
Time out.
All right. We probably should have pre-poured
You
these.
got a
What do
lot
you
more
think?
beer than we did.
not
Well, you know, sorry guys, I'm the host. I get more beer. There you go.
I got gypped
You
on
did
this
get
one.
gypped
It's
on that
okay.
one.
I don't like the porter. I'll take the extra Unholy.
All right. So first topic, number 1, the top 4 frustrations faced by software engineers. I'm just going to kind of run through the
start the
4.
clock?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead and start the beer. You're very concerned about the beer clock.
It's like, what job?
5 minutes on the clock. All right, the first frustration, a task mindset with no context. So basically, it's being asked to do something without being told why. What do you guys think about that as being a frustration of a software engineer?
I feel like that's a frustration even beyond software engineering. I know I tell our support team all the time, hey, yes, a customer comes to you with an issue. That doesn't necessarily mean that's their problem. It's the whole symptom, disease, diagnostic thing, right?
Yeah.
You get a requirement as a developer or a software engineer and, it's, hey, change this menu. You don't know why, so you're just doing what it says versus maybe there's a better way to do it than what's in the requirement.
Right.
Right. But you should be involved early enough on that you already have a good idea of
That's true.
why you're being asked to do that. And hopefully you're not in a situation where you're just seeing these things come down the pike at you and you're just having to do them
Solve that issue.
without being part of the discussion to begin with.
Right.
So
All right. Cool. Well, let's move on. So number 2, endless rework. Poorly defined requirements lead to incomplete solutions, which results in unnecessary reworking the same requirements. So what about that one?
I think that kind of loops back into the last thing about not really defining out what the actual task is, just a task versus the actual reason behind it.
Right.
right.
That's about all I got.
I think what all of these things will have in common is that it looks like
Tasty.
it's
Sorry to interrupt you, but
it seems like we're talking about an organization that's very siloed, and nobody is talking to anybody else, and everybody's doing agile now, and they should be talking. Everybody should be involved in the process of deciding what requirements are getting developed as they go and what can be fit into a sprint. So nothing should really come up as a surprise to people, but I think a lot of these approach from the mindset that it's very old school kind of, you do your job and you don't you stay in your lane.
Right.
Do you think,
everything.
and do you think these frustrations are what kind of led to the agile movement, maybe because it used
Probably
to,
quite a bit, because this is so inefficient
Right.
to be siloed like that, and have the people who really know how much time it takes to do something and what your options really are in a certain situation, not have any say in developing those requirements and making those decisions. So absolutely, yeah.
Cool. Great, guys. Frustration number 3, legacy code. New releases being developed to operate harmoniously with legacy code, and you lack the supportive documentation. I know
this
that's
was
gotta
over
be
my head a little bit, but
Over your head.
my main
All right.
main thought when I read this part of the article was, I think especially with turnover and things, you don't necessarily know it, without good notes and documentation to it. You don't necessarily know what that code is doing if the original person who developed it's there, right?
Right.
So there's a lot more rework than necessarily needed.
Right.
No, that's a good
That's all I
point.
got.
That's all you got?
It is difficult documentation.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
And then finally, shifting to an embrace change mentality. I mean, I think that kind of, Matt, what you were saying, it kind of incorporates all of them together.
Yeah, everybody should be working together towards a common goal. That's the agile.
Collaboration.
Yeah, you got to collaborate. You got an entire team who understand different pieces of, like you got the product owner who knows what they want most of the time. You got your requirements people who are writing those up. You need to have the engineers and the testers.
I know. I'm going to thumbs down on that one. Appreciate that, Matt.
You need to have everybody that has a stake be involved in the development process at this point, or else these things are going to fail. With this, we got to have 25 releases a month now. It's everybody has to be involved and going in the same direction and have a say in what's going on.
integrated
Otherwise, you're
process,
setting yourself
seamless kind of-
up for failure. Yeah,
Right.
You don't want to be struggling against one another.
Very cool. How much time we got left on our clock?
Let's see, 34 seconds.
All right.
There was a point I was going to make, but I forgot it.
You
already.
forgot your
the
point
beer,
already?
The
The beer took over?
The beer took over. I'm just kidding.
It's just so good.
Not a huge pour for him. This one's not bad.
That's not bad at all, actually.
This is the best beer made in Tampa. Actually, best beer in the world. Voted on by me.
That values
Our-
a lot there.
Our resident beer connoisseur.
snob.
Yeah.
We're just thinking snob, not
Snob.
connoisseur.
Okay, yeah. Snob works.
Yeah, probably not connoisseur, just
Just a snob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So this is one of your tops.
yeah. It's my go-to.
Oh,
That's your go. There we go.
all right. Now we got to pour the
Next
next
up.
beer.
What are we going to do
Unholy.
next? Unholy.
The triple.
This is one of my favorite
So I
beers.
got a lot left, so I'll just drink out of the bottle after this point. So let me pour you a glass here. And you as well. And as I'm pouring this,
I'll start the timer.
Was I supposed to finish this?
I mean, you had 5 minutes, dude. You should have. I don't know what that says about you.
here, I'll just leave this to the side.
I'm just enjoying it so much.
So now we're going to move on to topic number 2. We're going to discuss our favorite picks from this year's Automation Guild online conference. It's an online conference all around automated testing. It's a really good conference.
Put on by Joe.
Joe Colantonio, yep. This is his second year doing it, if
Correct.
I'm not mistaken. Yep. A lot of great presentations. It was a 3-day conference. Had a couple of roundtable discussions, probably 8 or 9 different presentations each day. The great thing about it too is by registering for the event, you actually get access to every single one of the presentation recordings, as well as the transcripts, key takeaways, all kinds of stuff. So you get a lot for your money there.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm going to turn to you to talk about what your favorite presentation from that conference was.
All right, mine was called, are we going to have links for this down below? Or
Yes,
no?
we'll
Okay.
have links.
The Dark Arts of Functional Testing. And this is a really dense,
Oh, that's really good too.
really dense kind of beginner's course on more advanced scripting. So if you're somebody who you started to learn a little VB, you're in like the basic keyword view of UFT, and you're like, this isn't really getting it done for me because there's no such thing as scriptless testing. I need to do more advanced stuff. This is a great video. It's extremely dense in VB. If you know a little VB, it's like the fire hose of VB is suddenly on you. And if you stop the video as you're going and learn what he's doing, look at the code he's writing, try to reproduce it on your own, figure out why he's writing what he's writing, because he doesn't explain every piece of code. He's not writing every line. He's copy pasting a lot of it. There's some really great stuff in there about how to create your own function library and create methods and do custom reporting. I think it's really like the next step. If you're moving out of the basic stuff, you're ready to move on to advanced stuff, the function library is where it is next. Creating your own functions and methods is where you need to move to next. So,
And was it UFT specific?
yeah,
Okay.
UFT 14, I believe, the most advanced one. So he gives some explanation of some of the settings in UFT that you probably have wondered what in the world they do. Great video. And it's not, I know you ever watch those videos on YouTube and it takes like the first 20 minutes for them to finally get past the
Finally
intro.
get to, yeah, you're like, get on with it
Fast
already.
forward,
I just want to see
Does
what
our
this-
video do that?
I mean, he's right into it, just immediately explaining everything. Here's the code, and it's over an hour long. So
Okay.
Oh, wow.
great video.
Awesome.
Okay.
I would highly recommend it.
Very cool.
I did
Sneha?
not see that one. Mine, I don't know the actual title, so I'm sorry. Michelle gave the presentation. It was test automation in DevOps. It was actually really cool. She did a really, really good demo using all basically open source tools, starting with the release pipeline and different staging, production, quality, kind of different environments, showing how that interplays. And then she used the Selenium grid to basically, she did polls, polling of Git to see when the repositories changed, automatically launched her Selenium testing within Chrome, Selenium grid, and IE, I believe, and then had the reporting all come back and be pulled in. It was just a really good way that she explained it, and for folks that are just kind of diving into the DevOps, it's a good head start. And one thing that I noticed in her demo, which you don't typically see, is that she actually instructed you on how to go do it yourself, showed you what add-ons you needed,
Very
how
cool.
to do your polls. So
Sounds cool.
it was pretty neat.
Very cool. My favorite, well, you know, I don't have a whole lot of practitioner knowledge in any automation. So to me, one of my favorite ones was Anyone Can Cook by Leo Alaskans. I believe he's with Sauce Labs. And you know, in the presentation, he pretty much talks about, he starts off talking about why automation is important. I feel like we all kind of know that. But then he's talking about, you know, how you really don't have to have a significant level of technical knowledge to get into automation. And he kind of breaks it down a little bit. I don't want to give too much away because I'd like for you to go watch the presentation. But a couple of things I wanted to point out that he touched on, which I found really fascinating, was a recent study that he talked about said that 61% of new QA jobs are hiring for automation engineers as opposed to only 39% for manual testing. That's pretty big reason to start thinking about. And he actually breaks down, you know, because it's the whole anyone can cook, and it's based off of the Ratatouille movie or something. He kind of does, yeah, he kind of themes the whole thing off of that. So when he goes into how to become an automation engineer, he does your recipe. Is our time up?
5 minutes.
Well, we're almost wrapping it up. He goes into the recipe step by step of what you should do to get into automation, which I thought was really cool. And then lastly, I just wanted to talk about one other stat that he brought up in saying more than half of today's testing jobs are for Selenium. I think you had said when we were talking about this, is that half of all automation jobs?
Right,
Or half
automated
of
testing?
all testing jobs?
I don't know. That seems. I would definitely like you to get clarification on that, because if you're including like performance testing, UI testing, all these different
Right.
niches of testing.
But if that's the case, that would be really huge.
I need to go learn Selenium, apparently.
And one other thing I wanted to bring up, which I thought I'd never heard of this before, but he talked about manual testers kind of, you know, being known for just always banging on the keyboards until something breaks. And he talks about the infinite monkey theorem, which I'd never heard. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Matt's a nerd.
Yeah.
So essentially the idea is if you put a monkey on a typewriter, I guess a computer at this point, and give it an infinite amount of time to bang on that keyboard, it'll eventually write the works of Shakespeare. I thought that was funny and fascinating. But anyways, what's up next?
Go ahead and start.
Wheat stroke. Oh, you're going to pour.
Wheat stroke. I will.
Not
figured you're
generally
busy
a
enough.
fan of wheat beer.
They all think I like wheat just from the last episode, because I apparently
Yeah,
picked
if
out
you
a lot
watched
of-
the last episode, you'll know that it was like mango wheat, blueberry wheat,
Another
It
mango
just
wheat.
happened, it just happened to be
mango
that
wheat.
way because we had to stay local. I was trying to get a variety, and you guys picked up.
Right. Excuses.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I drink anything, but like I said, vodka. Vodka is the way to
We're
my
not
heart.
doing a vodka episode.
All right, let me start the clock.
It's not bad though. I'll be honest. Not too bad. American wheat.
Which do you like more, the wheat or the triple?
Well, triple,
Triple.
obviously.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Is it
I mean,
Tripel
I'm sure
or
who's trying.
Triple? I thought it was Triple. I don't know.
Don't insult him like that.
Why do people always say Tripel?
Moving
That's
on.
only you.
Topic number 3. We're going to do a product spotlight. This episode, we're going to talk about Ranorex, just briefly.
Because we've talked about quite a bit of automation today.
Right. Yeah.
5 minutes.
5
Speed
whole
rounds.
And I just wanted to kind of give what on their site, what they kind of say is basically seamless testing of a wide range of desktop, web, and mobile applications and support for many third-party controls and frameworks. What do you guys know about Ranorex?
So it's a pretty robust tool at the price point it is. You know, it definitely has a lot more features than Selenium because it does do desktop applications. You know, Selenium's strictly for web and Appium's for a mobile. But yeah, you can still do desktop, web, mobile. It's very integrative with third-party tools. Matt, what else would you say?
I think the only challenges you might face is in the custom code part. Is that
Right.
at least for me, UFT comparatively is a little easier
Right.
to
And that's
code
because
in.
you know VB versus C#.
Right, it
C.
is. You feel more like you're in a development environment
Right.
in Ranorex, but
With the DevOps
yeah.
movement, that's actually probably a pretty good
right
thing.
for a lot, yes, for a lot of people who are developers already, it'll be a pretty familiar environment
Right.
for them. So I think that's an advantage. I think the cost is probably a
a
big deal.
huge factor
Yeah.
in it being as robust as it is. So.
Yeah. It's a very capable tool.
And they have the concurrent licensing, the seat licensing, and
Yeah.
the runtime engine licensing, similar to a lot of these other automation tools.
Yeah, and it's very similar to say UFT in that you can pretty much just start it up, hit record, and start
Yeah.
recording against your application.
Record and
It's-
replay is going to be a big thing with, I think, automation
Yeah.
in general for people that are getting thrown into automated, manual testers throwing
Yeah.
into automated positions.
Yeah.
That's the word. I'm
So it's
looking
easy
for.
to get started, and just put some scripts together, and from there you can get more advanced, obviously. But I mean, low barrier of entry, I'd say. Fire it up, get going, hit record. It's a pretty good tool.
You don't have to drink from the fire hose. That's what you said earlier.
You will eventually. You will eventually, yeah, for sure.
Very cool. All right. I don't think we're going to make 5 minutes
No,
on
on
this
that one.
on that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and pour the last one and move into our
You
recommendations.
just let
Okay.
it run. Because if you 5 minutes of us drinking beer and fast forward.
I keep clinking glasses as I pick
yeah,
them up.
you're
I
gonna
don't-
say smooth it, moving
How much time is left?
2 minutes.
151.
We'll go ahead and pour the last one.
You sure?
That's okay.
Okay.
Are you sure? Am I sure about
I mean, we
pouring
can take a time out and drink for 2 minutes.
Matt, you need it.
This video can be played in fast forward.
Everyone's probably playing it in like 3 speed, just trying to see if it gets to somewhere valuable that they want to listen to us. just
It's been
chit-chat.
valuable since the very beginning. What do you
At
think?
least
know.
for the beer, right?
This is really just water cooler
This is the
talk,
Free
a little bit of
Dive
software.
IPA. Topic number 4 is our recommendations.
Ooh.
Sneha, I'm going to start with you. This is, and just so we're clear, this is basically anything in the next month or so that we feel like is worth your time to pay attention to.
And I'm going to pitch myself. Brent and I are giving a webinar on deliver faster, deliver reliable.
You don't know the name of our
I
own
don't. I just know what I say in my webinar. The basic
Deliver fast, deliver reliably,
what I said.
Atlassian and DevOps.
And last, and so we're essentially going to cover, the DevOps. Killing me.
You're killing me.
I know. We're going to cover how DevOps is done in the Atlassian platform. So it's
Right.
really
the whole
neat, different-
DevOps infinity loop
I
with
love
the,
that
with the
infinity
complete
loop.
Atlassian
Yep.
suite.
And
And it touches on quite a few of the integrations along the way
yeah,
as well.
definitely. It's not strictly
Yeah.
Atlassian. We'll talk about how some of the test management tools integrate, because our sweet spot at where I work is
That was awkward.
That was awkward.
Checkpoint Technologies.
At Checkpoint Technologies, who is our sponsor. Our sweet spot is quality assurance software testing, so we will definitely include that in our webinar. It's just a good webinar. Brent and I will be hosting it on February 21st.
February 21st. And there'll be a link for the
I
registration.
think I'm on
below.
PTO that day. I'm just kidding.
You're going to have to dial in. Matt, what about you?
All right, sticking with DevOps. There's a presentation on, what is the website called? Now I forget. There'll be a link below.
Right.
It's called The Secret Weapon of DevOps
Do you know the
Success.
title?
I have it written down.
section's going down the tube.
I prepared myself on
We went too fast in the beers.
It's called The Secret Weapon of DevOps Success.
Imagine if we were
Automation.
drinking the full beers like we had originally planned in 5 minutes.
Not good.
So the link's below.
And it's done by a couple of product managers out at Micro Focus, right?
Right. And actually, we had recently a user group meeting. I don't know if you remember that now, where there was a presentation about how basically end to end all of their stuff was automated. You know, the deployment, the setup of test environments. I don't want to say names, but
I think I know. Check them out.
their actual testing, all that stuff from end to end. They were trying to get everything just totally automated, so that people weren't having to manually go in and get
I
environments
think they went
configured for testing.
99% automated, right? For mentioned. I don't think they
I've
hit
re-
the 100.
Well, I mean, you're not going to be able to do that, but I forget the numbers. But it was really interesting, and I'm sure a lot of that is going to be covered here if you're interested in that sort of setup. So I would highly recommend it.
Awesome. And then my pick is actually an additional video series that our sponsor and my employer, Checkpoint Technologies, puts on. It's called Quality in a Quick. It's essentially 3 to 5 minute videos, kind of touching on all sorts of different topics around QA and software testing. So it's actually done by our president, Bob Cruz. They're a great series. They come out once a week, every Monday. So we'll have a link to the playlist below. Check that out. Beer reviews. Which ones are your favorites? Neha, let's start with you.
Well, Unholy is always my favorite, but actually this was probably my first time having wheat stroke, awkwardly enough. And it wasn't
bad.
terrible.
No, it wasn't bad.
And I mean, I do apparently like wheats, but
You're a bit
You do.
obsessed.
yeah, but I still definitely like the Unholy.
Matt.
And the porter was not as bad as I expected
Wait,
it to be.
do we even need to
How
ask
dare you.
Matt? I mean, he did
No.
claim that the
I
best
put them in
beer on
order.
earth
I put them in order.
in the order that you like them. So this is your priority order
Yeah.
up here.
Yeah.
Night
That's it.
swim, Unholy,
That's
wheat
it.
stroke, free dive.
If you get a chance to go to their brewery, just drink.
Go to IKEA
just drink-
first.
Well, go to
eat
IKEA.
meatballs,
Get you some
and then
meatballs.
go.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's all I do at
Right.
IKEA.
You guys have done this before. Okay. Yeah, you go eat meatballs, then just go drink exclusively night swims. over
First,
at
drop a
Coppertail.
couple $1,000 at IKEA, because who gets out of there not buying anything?
That's impossible. You get lost.
I
in
did
there,
once.
and then
I
you just
didn't
end up
buy
spending-
anything but a giant stuffed dog. Don't know
That's
how
impressive.
that happened.
Very impressive.
They have giant stuffed dogs.
I do.
They do.
Who did you buy it for?
You haven't gone to
My
the kids
daughter?
section clearly.
Oh.
You don't have kids yet, so you don't know.
You'll learn.
You get. It was because she's like, I want this one. Okay.
I'm with
Cheers.
you. Night swim.
Night swim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
night swim's my recommendation.
Really? Over
Yeah, that's my
Unholy?
pick. Yeah, that's my pick. It's delicious.
Interesting. How are we gonna fill up a full beer now? That we don't
Yeah,
have
we'll
full
just have to
beers
toast
left?
with what we have. I do want to mention, though, thanks again to our sponsor. If you had the chance to visit any of the software testing conferences last year, you might have saw some of us walking around with the beer and software testing T-shirts. I actually
Do
wore
we
one
have
in the
one?
last episode. We got some over there, but we'd have to leave the camera and all that kind of stuff. So we'll put a link or something in there. But on the back, it's got a nice graphic on the front. On the back, it's got, I think, 5 or 6 ways that testing beer and testing software is similar. People really seem to like them.
They're
gonna
the
give-
soft T-shirts too.
They're very nice T-shirts. We're giving away 3 of those in this episode. So the first 3 people to comment on this video will win.
Not mean comments.
It has to be positive comments. Yes.
That is the stipulation. Oh, are we gonna get a beer thing thrown at us?
We got beer shirts throwing at us. Hang on.
Oh,
there we
Here
go.
we go.
I think the blue
Very-
one is softer than the red
2
one.
different
isn't it?
colors. You can pick which color you like.
What
There's
if you
the
show the
front.
back? You guys
There's the
won't-
back.
How testing beer is like software testing.
Don't spoil it though.
I'm not
They have
reading
to.
it.
They have to win it to find out. So anyways, with that, email below if you have any feedback or comments or any topics you want us to cover in the future. We appreciate you watching. Until next time, cheers, everybody.
Cheers. I have no beer.
Sad.